All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling Resetando Mente. It's a bold book promising us we can break free from autopilot and, actually create a better future for ourselves. And the thing is, it kind of really delivers on that promise.
Hmm, definitely bold.
It makes you think about all those ingrained habits, thought patterns we all have, the ones holding us back without us even realizing it.
Yeah, it's like we're all running on some outdated software, right?
Exactly. And Edgar, the author, he had this major wake-up call back in 2012, like a total system reboot. He calls it this download moment, basically. He saw his entire life, like, flash before his eyes, but it wasn't a near-death thing or anything.
Oh, he had one of those. So what happened?
He just suddenly saw all these patterns he'd been repeating, how his conditioned mind was actually, like, boxing him in, limiting his potential. The book calls it being trapped in an illusion.
It is an illusion. We get so stuck in our own heads. It's like we're on autopilot, just going through the motions. Edgar describes this realization as both exhilarating and frustrating. Like he was excited to have this clarity, but also kind of bummed realizing how much potential he'd been, wasting by not being fully present.
Totally. I felt that aha moment, but also that, wait, I've been sleepwalking through life.
Mm.
It's both empowering and a little unsettling. But that's what I appreciate about this book. It doesn't just point out the problem, it actually gives you a way out, a path to break free from this illusion.
Right, exactly. It's a practical guide to stepping into a more empowered, conscious way of being.
And that's where the sea of possibilities comes in.
Okay. Sea of possibilities. What's that all about?
It's not some mystical, woo-woo thing, even though it sounds like it. It's actually about realizing the future isn't some fixed destination. It's more like this vast ocean of potential outcomes, all these different possibilities. And our choices, the choices we make right now, act like currents, steering us in a certain direction.
So we're not just along for the ride. We actually have some say in where we end up.
Exactly. We have the power to navigate,
Hmm.
but we often limit ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. I've been there. It's like we're surrounded by this vast ocean, but we're stuck in a tiny harbor, too afraid to venture out because our minds are telling us we can't or we shouldn't or it's too risky.
And that's what Resetando a Mente helps us do. Break free from that self-imposed harbor.
It's a journey of self-discovery. Edgar talks about his own experiences after his big wake-up call, how he dove headfirst into things like yoga and meditation to really understand his own mind. And he doesn't just mention these practices in passing, he goes deep into how they helped him become more present, more aware of those default thoughts running in the background.
He even uses this metaphor of looking at life through different lenses. You've got the past, the future, and the present moment, each giving you a different view.
In the present moment, that's the clearest lens of all.
It's the one that actually allows us to create the future we want, instead of constantly replaying the past or worrying about what might happen.
Being present is where the real magic happens.
It's like we're so busy staring at the road ahead, or worse, in the rearview mirror, that we miss out on the beauty and the potential of what's right in front of us.
And that, my friend, is a trap Edgar helps us avoid.
So it's not enough to just be present, right?
Yeah.
We have to actually do something with that presence.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting. Edgar doesn't stop at just be present. He dives into the law of attraction.
Okay, hold on. Before you lose me, law of attraction, isn't that a little,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but he doesn't present it like some mystical wishing well or anything.
good, because I was about to say.
It's not about sitting back, picturing a yacht, and expecting it to show up. It's not passive at all.
Okay, so how does it actually work? I'm curious how he explains it.
So Edgar says it's about aligning our thoughts, actions, intentions to create like this chain reaction to bring about a specific outcome.
Okay.
He uses this great analogy about a soccer player scoring a goal.
Okay, I like where this is going.
It's not just luck when that player scores,
Yeah.
right? It's skill, dedication, being in the right place, all of it. We have to position ourselves within that same scheme, within the universe, to get what we want.
So it's like we do the work, we take action, but we're also trusting that the universe is going to meet us halfway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about his approach is it's empowering. We're not just waiting around for things to happen. We're active participants in our own lives.
Which brings us to, I think, a really crucial point, this idea of rewriting our internal programming. Like that outdated software we were talking about earlier.
Yes, and this is where I think Recitando a Mente really shines. So many self-help books tell you to just repeat affirmations, but they don't address those deep-seated beliefs that could be, well, sabotaging you.
It's like putting a bandage on a broken leg.
Right, you got to set the bone first. And Resetando Mente helps you do that. It encourages you to really dig deep, face those negative thought patterns head on.
Which honestly sounds kind of terrifying.
It can be, for sure, but Edgar gives you the tools to do it. He offers practical exercises to challenge those thoughts and replace them with ones that actually serve you.
Okay, that makes me feel a bit better. So
Mhm.
less like running from those negative thoughts and more like, I don't know, transforming them.
Yeah, or like, instead of being terrified of the waves, you learn how to surf.
I like that.
So we've got presence, law of attraction, rewriting our internal programming, ready for the next level.
Hit me with it. What else does Edgar have up his sleeve?
This is where Edgar takes us into the quantum realm.
Hold on. Quantum physics. Are we really going there?
I know, it sounds kind of out there, but trust me on this. He explains it in a way that's actually pretty relatable. It's about the observer effect, how just observing something can actually influence what happens.
Right. Like in those quantum experiments.
Exactly. And Edgar connects that to our own ability to shape our reality, not just through what we do, but through our conscious presence, our intentions.
So how we choose to see the world is actually changing it.
It's not that simple, but yeah, it's about recognizing we're not just passive observers, we're creators. Where we focus our attention, our thoughts, that's powerful stuff. It pulls possibilities from that sea of possibilities, makes them our reality.
Like, so we're shaping our reality, but how do we make sure we're not accidentally shaping it into something we don't want?
That's where understanding and working with our internal programming comes in. But Edgar, he throws in another curveball.
A curveball. All right, lay it on me. What's this curveball Edgar's throwing our way?
Well, he challenges us to, get this, move beyond forgiveness.
Beyond forgiveness. Okay, now that's a tough one. I mean, forgiveness is hard enough on its own, but going beyond it, what does that even look like?
It's about understanding, really understanding where other people are coming from. Like sometimes we judge, we blame, but Edgar's saying a lot of that comes from our own stuff.
Our own baggage, our own issues?
Exactly. It's about self-awareness, right? Resetando Mente talks about how true understanding, the kind that lets us move past forgiveness, it comes from compassion, from being willing to see the bigger picture.
So instead of getting stuck in that cycle of blame, resentment, we try to understand why the other person acted the way they did. See their actions, even if they were hurtful, through a lens of empathy.
Yes. And I know it's easier said than done, especially when you've been hurt.
It's so easy to get caught up in being right, you know?
But Edgar's not saying we have to condone hurtful actions. It's more about recognizing that we're all just out here doing our best, even when it's messy. And we all make mistakes. It's about seeing those mistakes as opportunities for growth, for everyone involved.
He uses a really interesting metaphor to illustrate this whole interconnectedness thing. The mycelium network. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah. The underground network, right, with fungi.
It connects trees and plants, lets them communicate and share resources. It's this vast hidden web.
It's amazing. I love that he uses that analogy. It's so true. Our actions, they don't happen in a vacuum. We're all connected, part of this web of life. And what we do, what we choose, it has a ripple effect.
So where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway, the thing Edgar wants us to remember from Resetando Mente?
It's about taking control. You are not stuck. You can rewrite your internal programming, become a conscious creator, like we were talking about. The future's not set in stone. It's more like a blank canvas.
And we get to choose the colors.
Exactly. But it's also about remembering we're part of something so much bigger than ourselves. We're not just individuals. We're connected to everything and everyone.
It's both empowering and humbling,
Yeah.
This book reminds you that you have the power to create amazing things, but it's not all about you. It's about how we can use that power to make the world a better place.
And that's what Edgar leaves us with, this question. If we're all connected, part of this one unified consciousness, how can we show up differently? How can we make choices that create a ripple effect, but a good one, a positive one?
It's a call to action, right? To be more mindful, more intentional, not just with our own lives, but with the impact we're having on the world around us.
And it starts right here, right now, with each and every choice we make.
That is Resetando Mente in a nutshell, folks. Go check it out.